Every one of those people, including Jimmy Barnes at a Cold Chisel, Johnny Farnham, his brother-in-law, and of course, you know, the other brother-in-law, Diesel, there as well. So I know their family very, very well. In Excess, I've worked with In Excess over the years. I used to work for a band called Noiseworks back in the day, that John Stevens, of course, ending up being the lead singer because of a particular incident that happened with In Excess, and I was on tour with them when that happened. Would you believe that? Way back in the day. So yeah, it really, really was. I've been an engineer for many bands, and including AC/DC here in New Zealand. They come to New Zealand. I used to be the permanent engineer for them when they would come here, and in fact, Phil, the old drummer, and I are good friends. I had him sleeping on my couch just a couple of months ago, to be quite honest. Of course, you know about, you know the hassles he was having with the New Zealand courts here in New Zealand. Well, the paparazzi were just hounding his house. Couldn't go anywhere, so he came and stayed at my place.
Wow. Monster drummer.
Yeah,
Monster
mate.
In fact, a couple of my drumming friends, him and J.R. Robinson are their favourite drummers. So I love Phil Rudd as well.
Yeah, no, Philly's a good old mate of mine, and we do tend to get into a bit of trouble together when we get together, that's for sure. Currently, he's touring around with his new band right now around the world, so he's doing okay for himself.
Oh, that's good to hear. Awesome.
Absolutely. Now, we were also talking about your how people can get hold of you, of course, being on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and stuff like that. But more importantly, do you have a website? Are you on iTunes? Are you on Amazon and everything like that? How do people download your music? And I reiterate, people, please go and buy the music. Don't be cheap. Don't go to YouTube or anything like that. Go and buy the music. And do you have a merch store there as well?
I'm on iTunes. Actually, my music's available on pretty much all of the digital platforms. As far as my website, I'm just in the process of updating it at the moment, and that'll happen in probably the next couple of weeks. So, but yeah, the best place is probably all come to a show. They're the places to get my music.
Fair enough, too. Fair enough.
Bit hard for your New Zealand followers at the moment, but yeah, if they're the best places. So iTunes and Google Play, all this, Amazon, it's on all those.
Well, that's a good segue, to be quite honest, because we would like to be able to see you here in New Zealand playing in front of New Zealand audiences. So maybe you could bring some of your CDs and some of your merch over to be able to sell here in New Zealand, because I know they're just going to eat you up, my friend. They really, really are, especially with arms like that. Look at that. The girls are just going to run all over you. They really, really are. At the same time, maybe we may be able to talk you into sending us some of your CDs and some of your T-shirts and bits like that, because today, in fact, I'm dressed by San Diego's band, and these guys are absolutely brilliant. If you ever get a chance to go and see Cyrus in anywhere in the world, you'll absolutely love them. You really, really will. So if you want to be able to send me a T-shirt, for instance, I would love to be able to do interviews and keep BROOK CHIVELL rolling in every which way we can possibly do that. And at the same time, we'd love some of your CDs so that we can do some giveaways here at Galaxy107fm. They all like the CDs, and everybody likes a bit of swag as well. So if you want to throw some of that in, please do so, because we would love to be able to keep you going. At the same time, I'm also going to say to you later on down the track, maybe we might be able to get you to do a couple of voiceovers so we can play on the radio as well, accompanying your music, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course.
Nice. Always like a few MP3 voiceovers so that we can mix it up and keep everybody informed about who's playing what sometimes, if you know what I mean. Now, at the same time, I've got to ask you, are you looking at doing shows over the summer period? You really wouldn't have a winter period over there per se, but in the summer period, have you got anything lined up?
So for this year, it's just there's bits and pieces in Queensland. I'm in Melbourne in a couple of weeks to do a gig down it's called the Power Ranch in Victoria. And aside from that, I've got a couple of festivals that are coming up towards the end of the year. So there's a festival called Kick the Dust Up in Canberra, which is the 10th of November.
Yeah, I love Byron Bay, and actually, I love Moreton Bay as well. I've been there, love the bugs there out of Moreton Bay. So yeah, I love those places, absolutely. At the same time, I've also got to let you know, just recently we've done a study here in New Zealand and found that there's a huge continent that's connected to New Zealand that runs just past Australia. Would you believe that Tasmania absolutely is part of the New Zealand continent? So we're wondering to ourselves, you know, maybe we should claim Tasmania back and ask Mr. Turnbull, you know, for some back taxes from when taxes started. What do you reckon?
I'm only going to say this because I'm good mates with some Tasmanians, and Wolf Brothers are some of them, but you can have it and take it. It's all yours.
Yeah, we'll keep the wildlife as well. We kind of want to adopt those little devils.
Yeah. Well, they're pretty noisy though. You've got to be careful. I wouldn't let them out amongst your wildlife there. They're massive.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't do that. We'll leave them on the island, that's for sure. But at the same time, now you might need to go through customs when you're doing the yacht race, the Tasmanian yacht race. Wouldn't that be a kicker? But at the same time, I see we beat your skipper that was on the America's Cup. Would you believe? We've got the America's Cup now. What let down the Americans, unfortunately, was that they weren't allowed to be able to use all the automated stuff they used the last time. That's a little underhanded, don't you think? That was a little underhanded. We're still cranking.
I guess the America's Cup is pretty much whatever you can get away with at the time. I mean, that's how we won it. Keel was obviously not a thing until we brought it in, until the Aussies did it, and then I think New Zealand won it the next year. Like we haven't had it since. We just won it that one time, but New Zealand's won it heaps of times.
Yeah, exactly. And in fact, we took it away just a few months ago as well. So we've got it back again, if you know what I mean. But we don't mind sharing. You know, let's get you guys into the Louis Vuitton, and instead of being an America's Cup now, we could make it an Anza's Cup, and the Americans can just sit and watch.
I'm happy to do that. I know we'll get beaten every year, but that's fine.
Ah, dear. I love this guy. I really, really do. Now, at the same time, with getting you here in New Zealand, are you up for doing some funky stuff, my friend?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. I mean, I've always wanted to get over there, you know, and play gigs. So I've had a couple of offers over the years that just haven't turned out. So, but yeah, definitely love to get over to New Zealand, play some gigs. It'd be good fun.
Nice. Well, I'll let you know a little bit of the plans that we're doing here in New Zealand at the moment. Galaxy and Aurora Entertainment, which is Barbara's section. She's the manager of that, and she does all the logistics of getting all the bands into the country, putting them on stage, the whole deal. She really, really looks after everybody in every way. But just recently, a partner of mine and I have decided that we're going to acquire 100 acres of land right now that we're looking at and use it for festival purposes ourselves. It's only logical that we do so. Rather than put money in other venues, why not make some ourselves as well? So we're going to start looking at that over the next couple of weeks. In fact, we're looking at the property right now and wanting to start developing it. So we would love to be able to make our first show, basically our first festival, and have you included in that. So that plan may be in the fires right away, to be quite honest with you, because I really absolutely do enjoy your music. I've got to let you know though, my friend, and I really must let you know this, we get about 30 to 50 bands a day that want to be promoted and put onto the into the interviews and all the follow-up stuff that we do. We only choose only three. And I gotta bless Barbara, because sometimes, you know, 30 to 50 bands a day doesn't keep her busy enough. She goes trolling through the internet and everything and finds absolutely superb artists like yourself. That also goes to the production team. They go and have a meeting, and then it goes to the board. They have a meeting. It comes back to me then, and I get the final say. As an engineer, I couldn't fault your music. I really, really couldn't. So it was only logical that we got this interview happening for you. And I really got to thank you for taking the time out to talk to me today. That wasn't your sister walking past in the background there, was it?
Housemate.
A housemaid?
Housemate, yeah.
Oh,
In a rental property, so.
Oh, okay, housemate. Sorry, I thought you said housemaid. Housemaid. I was going to say, you're rich enough?
Mate.
Yeah.
I'm living the high life, I haven't made.
Well,
Big Aussie accent.
yeah, exactly. You see, I'm struggling because I'm so used to Americans talking to me. It's really nice to be able to talk to somebody that's a little closer to the world than America is. And believe me, I get Grant all the time. It's nice to be able to hear somebody say Grant for a change.
Grant, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I say Grant as well, because I'm an East Coaster. If you're from South Australia, you're more likely to get the Grant.
Yeah, exactly. I did notice it. I did. That's why I sort of led you in that way.
Yeah.
Aha. It's a little leader. Anyway, now I want to talk about Thrills and Spills because I'm absolutely fascinated with this song. How did you put it together?
So this song, I just literally bought a brand new guitar, and sometimes, playing a different guitar gives you a different, something comes out that you wouldn't normally play, and that was, so the music came out that way, and then I took it into a writing session with a couple of friends, and Anthony, the guy that I write with, generally, is like, what about if we were singing a song about alcohol, but your partner thought it was a song about girls? So the idea was to get as many tricky things in there that we could about alcohol that sounds like you're singing about girls. So that's what we did. So, and then there's a reveal in the middle that tells you about that we're singing about girls, about alcohol. So, yeah.
All right, so without further ado, I've really got to play this. I've been looking forward to playing it all morning. And our feature artist, of course, is Brooke Chivell and the Brooke Chivell Band. You're right here at Galaxy 107 FM. Here's Thrills and Spills. So who was at the door?
The lady to read the meter.
Yeah, I thought it was. I knew that was going to happen. That's why I put that thing in. You comfortable there, Brooke?
All good, mate. All good.
No. That's right, you're right here at Galaxy 107 FM. It is 18 away from 1 o'clock and 29.6 degrees. We'll call it 30 degrees. What do you reckon? Round it up. And it's nice speaking to an Australian that actually knows what Celsius is, not Fahrenheit. And it is a pleasure, sir, to talk to you. Brooke, we're talking about your self-titled album and where you got it mastered. And I see Portland, Oregon. Now tell me all about that.
Okay, so basically I went through my CD collection and I was just looking for the best. I just wanted to contact the best. I thought it's probably not going to be able to afford it, but it's worth an email. You just never know these days. So that's exactly what I did. And, Adam has done and still does, Urban, Rascal Flats. He did the last Rolling Stones album. He does the Foo Fighters. And I just thought, I'll contact him and see what happens. And as it turned out, it was within my budget, so I just thought, let's do it. So I sent it away and got it back, and I was really happy with it. Mastering could be one of those things, you spend the money and there's no revision. It's just like, that's your master. So you might have to send it to somebody else, but I was just really happy it came back and sounded as good as it did. It's great. Nice.
And at the same time, now I've got my producer in my ear and she's asking me, please, can you ask Brooke, when he comes to New Zealand, would he be up for trying some hoo-hoo grubs? Have you ever heard of a hoo-hoo grub? No. Okay. Well, you know that the Maoris live here as well. They're our indigenous folks, much like the Aborigines over there. Now, here in New Zealand, they have some indigenous foods, and one of them is a hoo-hoo grub. Now, hoo-hoo grub, you must know what a caterpillar is, right? Okay, this is a caterpillar on steroids. It's about 2 inches long. It is huge. It really, really is. And it's white.
So, a witchetty grub.
Pretty much.
Witchetty grub.
Yeah, pretty much. It's white with a black head.
Yeah, I'll definitely eat that.
Yeah, when you crunch down on them, you get the peanut butter taste, the whole deal. So nice to know. At the same time, we may take you down the bottom of the South Island and, I don't know, what do you reckon, Barbara? We'll throw you off a bridge.
Yep.
He's on to it.
Actually, I bungee jumped a long time ago, and I had a problem. I had a show that night, and we did the bungee jump, and all the capillaries in my eyelids burst, so I had little red dots on my eyelids.
Hey, just makeup. Don't worry about it. It's just makeup. At the same time, and I better get this question in because it is one that some of our fans have asked. Now, let's set the scene, Brooke. You're at the venue, the crowd's there, the music is just going up, the lights going up, the smoke machines, the ambiance is being made. Just before you go on stage, do you get the butterflies?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And it doesn't even really matter what the size of the crowd is. You know, I've played to really big crowds and not been nervous at all. And other times I've played to smaller crowds. In fact, I find it more daunting to play to 4 or 5 people than to play to a big crowd. A big crowd, that's my home. That's what I do. I get out there and I rock a crowd. When you're playing to 3 or 4 people and you're talking about, I guess it's more intimate and it's more, you're talking about yourself as well, and it's, that can be a bit more difficult. Plus, people that are in a small group are more likely to say, I don't really like that. In a big crowd, it's like most of the people love it and they drown out the people that don't like it, so.
Exactly that. And I can relate to that, believe me. Give me 10 to 150,000 people, no worries. Give me 10 people, I'm absolutely freaking out. I really, really am. So I can relate to that very, very much. And I thank you for that question from Brooke, believe me. Now, I've also got to ask you at the same time, when you're here in New Zealand, besides, doing the bungee jumping and everything like that, is there anything in particular you would like to do here? Maybe skiing or maybe parachuting or maybe even just having a walk around Auckland Harbour or something like that. Is there anything in particular you would like to do?
Definitely. Take me to a really good hungy. That's what I want to do.
We do those in the weekend over here, my friend. We really do. And it is a pleasure to speak to somebody internationally that understands what a hungy's about.
I've got a few bros over here, and they'll occasionally do that. They can't do the real thing. Like, I want to go to a hungy in Rotorua, and I've been to Rotorua once, and I loved it. I just thought it was an amazing place. The hot baths are really cool, and they're really awesome. And the hungy that I had there was killer.
Well, I tell you what, my friend, Rotorua is only minutes away from where we are right now, to be very, very honest with you. I think about less than an hour away by car, to be quite honest. We're in the middle of 3 major cities, of course, Rotorua, Whakatane, and Tauranga, and we're smack in the middle of that, so 25 minutes here, half an hour there, we can accommodate that, not a problem. But being in the middle, you can understand that predominantly, being Rotorua, being a Maori tourist attraction, it's sort of spread out. So we are literally smack in the heartland of that whole culture. So doing hungies and everything like that, we can turn that on for you, not a problem. I love that. I really, really do. And by the way, this is all going to go onto the website a little later on as well, so everybody else can see it that is not following us on the radio right now. And it would be an absolute pleasure to be able to put you up there as well. After the interview, by the way, I know Barbara, and she's going to ask you if you just hang in there very, very briefly, because we're going to do a couple of 15-second little snippets that we're going to put on various internets and various mediums as well. Now, as we first met each other, I was asking you if you've ever heard of a magazine called Crank It Up Magazine. You haven't heard of those. So these guys come out of Pennsylvania, and the owner of the magazine, his name is Grant Reid. By the way, he makes movies and is a good friend of Quentin Tarantino's. He makes movies, yeah, really does. He makes movies for people like Warner Brothers, Universal Studios, and also Bollywood. But he absolutely loves doing this magazine as well, and he loves being able to promote indie artists and everything like that, and wants to be able to bring all of their artists here to New Zealand. And in so turn, we want to be able to send some from Australasia. It doesn't necessarily have to be from New Zealand, but from Australasia back over there to be able to perform in front of some of their crowds over there. So, inside Crank It Up magazine, there's a little tab. You can go along all the tabs, have a look and a nosy through and everything like that. You can go and follow the movies that he makes or the models or anything like that, even the fashion shows and all that sort of stuff. But there's something called Indie Garage. And Indie Garage is predominantly with Galaxy107fm, and they record TV shows for Indie Garage that goes to Fox Television. 105 million people literally follow these shows. They just did a pilot show just a couple of weeks ago, and it's a huge success. By the way, there is about almost 3 million subscribers to the magazine online as well. So it is absolutely wonderful as a platform to be able to get our artists out there to the world. We would love to be able to put you out there as well. Would you be interested in us forwarding on all of your stuff so that we could get you into not only Indie Garage, but Crank It Up magazine?
Yeah, of course.
Nice, because Barbara will let you know the process of that. Unfortunately, we've got to be able to send you a document that you have to sign because the Americans are sticklers for not being sued, if you know what I mean. So that's basically gives them the right to be able to use some or all of your music, if you know what I mean. Excellent. And at the same time, I'm sure he's going to be absolutely fascinated with you and want to have you over in Pennsylvania and other surrounding states that they perform in America. So I'd love to be able to see you on stage there, to be quite honest, and maybe even get you into the Grand Ole Opry. Have you been to the Grand Ole Opry?
Yeah, actually, I was there the night that Keith Urban was inducted.
Ah, right, okay. So he would have been paid his $50. No, true. No, actually, to be very honest with you, every performer from the day, of course it's a radio show, you do realise that, from the day that they very first opened up the doors, and it hasn't changed, every artist gets $50.
Really? Well, that's enough for a good plate of wings across the road at Opryland, so I'm down with that.
Exactly, and believe me, I've had my $50. I've actually stood on the Grand Ole Opry stage, but you know something? It's just behind the curtain, that little walkway behind the curtain. That's my favourite place because literally the amount of legends that's trod those boards are just incredible, and I found it hard to absolutely tear myself away from that particular place. So we'd love to be able to see you there, and I'm going to recommend to a good friend of ours over there, Steve Baker, to be able to follow you up and try and get you into America and into Nashville to be able to play on the Grand Ole Opry. And I'm sure Steve Baker will do me that favour. He's a very, very important man, and we'll forward all the information onto him and onto you so that you can make contact with each other as well. And you never know, you might be a superstar over there in no time at all.
I'd love to. I mean, I'd just like to go to the Grand Ole Opry to perform at the Grand Ole Opry. Not too many Aussies have done it. I think only two that I can think of. Maybe three.
Possibly three. Yeah, I think I've got about three in my mind, but yeah, fair enough too. And it is always great to be able to get somebody from our side of the world on such a stage like that. It is such a pleasure to be able to be a part of it as well. Now, at the same time, back in the day, and believe me, I mean back in the day, you used to follow Buddy Holly, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, ABBA, and Dr. Hook. That's quite an old school kind of way of starting out in the music scene, isn't it? Nice to see somebody of those traits.
Well, I mean, that was just the stuff that my
Yeah, believe me, and I can understand that. Back in my day, the old man used to say to me, "My car, my stereo, you listen." Absolutely.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but back in those days,
There was none of this.
nah,
None
nah,
of this back in the day.
nah, exactly. There wasn't. Well, actually, exactly. But back in those days, I can still remember 8 tracks. I don't know whether you remember those, but believe me, the old man. What a nightmare they were. Tape everywhere. Absolutely tape everywhere.
I remember we didn't have one, but I remember seeing him in, my uncle had a really old car at the time, and I remember seeing the 8-track and thinking, what on earth is that thing? And that was so hard to get tapes for, and yeah.
Well, here's something funny. You might find it funny anyway. We had an artist up here not so long ago here in the studios, and he brought his little boy with him. Must have been about 7 years of age, and we've got this wall of records. And he says to his dad, "What are they?" And the old man says, "Well, they're MP3 downloads before there was MP3s."
I had nearly the exact same thing happen to one of my friends. He's a massive Def Leppard fan, and he's got all the picture discs and all that stuff, back in the old days, the records and all that kind of stuff. And his daughter said exactly the same thing. What's that thing? He said, "That's our CD. That's what we had before CDs." So, and now there's kids that don't even know what a CD is anymore.
Exactly, absolutely. It's strange you should talk about Def Leppard. Joe Elliott and Steve Collins and that are good friends of ours. Actually, I've worked with them a couple of times over the years, and it'd be nice to be able to actually get them back in New Zealand. Barbara, you're going to have to work on that one for me while you think about it, while I think about it. Yeah, look, you work along the same lines as what we work along, and we love the kind of style of music that you're playing. The number one song for you, my friend, and believe me, you're going to be surprised at this. We have been inundated since we started playing this song, and it got to a stage where my receptionist stopped taking notes anymore. She put it down on a USB and left it in my cubbyhole saying, "Grant, you deal with this. Drive on." Now tell me about this, because believe me, when you're getting up around 30 to 50,000 requests for it over a weekend, this is ridiculous. Tell me, how did you make this song? Where did it come from?
So Drive On actually, a funny story. Drive On's actually the second part. We wrote 2 songs that went blended into each other. Well, not blended. It was like part 1 and part 2. And Drive On is the second part. We never recorded the first song because it wasn't actually that good. But yeah, the first song was about in country you can't just write about love all the time. You need to write about things of substance. You have to have a story. You can write about good stories in country, and that's what it's all about. So the first one was about a guy who goes out with his wife for dinner. It's pretty heavy. He goes, as in a heavy story, goes out for dinner with his wife and then gets a little bit drunk and gets in a car and they have a car accident and she dies. Then Drive On is the second part of that. This is the actual, I've never actually told anyone this, getting it out of me. So the Drive On is the second part of the story, which is about him eventually coming to a place where he realises he needs to move on, or he's just going to die. Like he's just going to stay in the one place and die. So it's really a song about moving on from any situation. You can take it whatever way you like, but it's really a song about moving on and finding something new to keep you going. Yeah.
Well, I got to be honest with you, my friend. I know our listeners are just busting to hear this right now, because believe me, it has been rocketing up our charts here at Galaxy 107 FM. So I can't not play it any longer. Here it is, Brooke Chivell and the Brooke Chivell Band, Drive On. My God, it's hot up here.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, yeah. What's the temperature over there right now? Do you know?
I think it's going to be 30 today or something.
So we're about the same temperature right now. It's 29 degrees here, so we're along the same lines today. That's nice. But being in here, in this building, unfortunately, we're surrounded by computers and everything. Put another 15 degrees on it, and it's damn sweltering right now.
Yeah, I'll bet.
So what we're going to do is we'll wrap this up now, but don't go anywhere because I know Barbara wants to do a couple of snippets and put you on to our website. And believe me, bro, when you've got about 5 million people every hour going through your website, good advertising. You know what I mean?
Yeah, awesome.
So, and we've got you on there already, so we'll just do a little snippet for that. I really do appreciate you taking some time out, especially on your day off, to have a chat to us here at Galaxy. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, believe me, the pleasure is all ours. I mean, we only play the best here at Galaxy, and it is an absolute pleasure to be able to play your music. Now that you've done an interview with us, you're part of the Galaxy family. Just hit us up anytime you want to foster us.
Awesome, I will.
Nice. And one day I'll come over and have a surf with you.
Come over and have a beer with me. I don't really surf. Too many. I surfed in Victoria a bit, and but the people are so they're really possessive of their waves over here, so I don't even get in the water. I've got a few female friends that'll go out for a surf, and they're like, "Oh, you should come out." I'm like, "You're a girl. They don't care if you surf.
Yeah.
Men they care about." So.
Exactly. Yeah, and then they'll just drop in on you anyway, you know, and not let you take the wave.
Yeah.
I understand that. Believe me.
Yeah.
I've been a ripple rider all my life, so I enjoy a good surf, if you know what I mean. So it's always hard
I'm
to
a
do.
horrible surfer. But I do enjoy it. I love it.
Well, you know what New Zealand's like. We're surrounded by water. We've got to make the most of it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, exactly.
it's a kid's playground for us. It really is. Anyway, we better go back to the desk.
Yeah.
Love the song.
You better get cracking.
Love the song.
Me too.
Yep. Yep.